What does one do when they're not fine? When you're not fine? You say, you're fine, I'm okay. But deep down inside, you're really not fine. How do you handle that? How do you go about it? And, are we being honest with ourselves when that time frame comes? It's a real kind of, quandary in a sense because of the fact that, when we're not fine, it's something that has to be addressed. It's not something we can put in the back of our minds and just kind of, deal with later on, because it'll start eventually having side effects, and, we don't want those side effects. So when you're not fine, I've been really honing in on this thing of being honest with myself. Like, on this particular subject, when I'm not fine, I have no problem reaching out, to say, hey, I could use a little conversation. I could use a little, assistance or advice, things of that nature, and admit that I'm not fine. I recently saw on, the limited social media I'm on, where someone admitted they were not fine. They were not fine, and I'm seeing more and more of that, and whether you use social media platform or one person was referring to their mate came to their aid and saved the day, and they really feel like they were over the edge. And, right now it's almost like depression is almost at an all-time high. And, some of us are honest about it. Some of us are trying to deal with it within our own realms. And it's very difficult to deal with when you're not fine by yourself. It is very difficult. I'm always hyped, pumped, you know what I mean? So when someone is high as someone can be, they also can have low lows. And, it takes a lot to get me to that place, but I'm honest enough to say when I'm there, and I'll reach out, to the one or two people I have in my small circle and communicate, say, I don't have to necessarily talk about anything specific. Just communicate for a minute, and I'll be honest with you, just talking is not always the answer, rambling about just the weather and things of that nature, I've learned that it's imperative to know what that trigger point is. What's that thing that started it? What sent one down a path of feeling like, they're not fine? Need to know cause and effect. Then that way you can avoid it happening again. And the more you're honest with yourself and learn more about yourself, the inner you, it can keep you more balanced. And it's very important, man. Balance is an important thing in life. It really is, because there are too many ups and downs in life. Too many things that can throw us off balance. You know what I mean? So, it's very important to understand who we are and be honest with ourselves about who we are and what kind of things affect us. Is it about goals? Is it about desires? Is it about, something maybe, unfortunately tragic or maybe happened? You could have got some bad news or something to that effect. You just never know what the trigger point is. But there are things that usually start us down a path, you know what I mean? And so we have to know what it is that started us down that path. And so, when we're not fine, and it's one of those things in human life where it's an equation that has to be, you can't, again, just sweep it under the rug. You can't, I would say that one thing about when we're not fine, it really, 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 unfortunately, it exposes our circle, because a lot of people do not want to address someone's feelings. They don't want to address what someone is going through. They don't want to take the time out of their life to, address something going on in your life. And, you did not know that quality existed. And when you find out now, you're like, okay, well, this was something huge to me. What does that mean? What does that mean? And it's really just one of those subjects. It's about 3 or 4 subjects that could come up, and all of a sudden, people scurry from it. It's too deep. You know what I mean? And I've said on the Nobody Show, addressing this particular subject, that the Imperfect Millers, the brand name that I go by, hey, I always know that door is open, which is why I do this show, not just because of the beautiful things of life, but also discussing some of the pitfalls of life. And, so that they can have, those that listen to the show, the Nobody Nation, can have, a lot of different topics they can listen to that addresses that particular subject, in various ways. And so, discuss that, when you're not fine, and man, it could come out of nowhere. I would imagine that 90% of those that, declare that they're not fine, it came out of nowhere on them. And that's why it's important to find out what started it, what opened up that door, and, so that you can make sure that you close that door. And, but yeah, man, it can come out of nowhere, man. One minute you're just, all of a sudden you're just feeling some type of way. And now you don't know what to do. And I don't know what made me, do that particular topic. I really don't. And it was just one of those things. Most of the time, subjects come from me, by spiritual means, or, I just may be thinking about something, an experience I may have had recently, And this was definitely one of those things that came to me by spiritual means. And it was like, okay, when you're not fine, and seeing a lady, man, that she was just devastated, She was devastated. She was saying, although I said I am, I'm not. And you could see, man, she was just, wow, right? And, as human beings, my dream, you know what I mean? I don't really get too deep into fantasies and things of that nature, but my dream would be that, we as fellow human beings understand we're all human beings. And so we all, have things that we may go through. And I do wish it was a situation where we could turn to other human beings and just address issues that's on our mind. Don't always have to be someone that's in our circle. I would love to see the world just be one big circle. We're all humans, you know what I mean? We all have that one thing in common, but that would be, wishful thinking. I'm in the real world. I'm in the real world. But, when we're not fine, man, and anything we go through in life is okay. It's okay. Those 2 letters, man, are really, really vital in life to understand that, it's okay. We have all these things that are so taboo. Even the title of the Nobody Show, nobody is a taboo word. When we're not fine, taboo word. Some suffer from mental illness, taboo. All these taboo things. And, why are they taboo? Why? What makes something taboo? And if things are going to be untouchable subjects, then those are things that are never going to be addressed. And then where does that leave us as a society? If we can't be honest with ourselves and each other, where does that leave us? Things that we're carrying around, which could lead to, certain behaviors that we normally don't do, could lead to, certain animosities and things of that nature that we normally don't feel, So that's why, if I had, the dream come true moment, that's why I would love for us to, be one collective, to understand that we all have this one major thing in common. We're all human beings, When you're not fine, I want to say to you that, again, it's okay. And being honest with yourself is key. Number one, key. And don't worry about the fact if someone scares, Don't worry about the fact, you may feel like, hey, there's no one. There's always someone, I would tell you this might sound really crazy, but, they have these numbers, right, that you can call and be anonymous and communicate with people. I believe in those numbers. I think that they're very vital because, again, you'll have no expectations of them personally. And that's a good thing. And you can just be honest and be brutally honest about what you're going through and everything, what you're feeling and whatnot, and have it addressed. And then you don't have no backlash from it, So I want to put that on the table as an option. I really do. I think it's a great thing that exists, So when you're not fine, I don't want you to go through that alone. That's the main thing. I just don't want you carrying that weight. I don't want you going through that alone. I don't want you to feel like you have no options. You always have options. And just know that there are beings and people out there like me that's always praying for you, that always want the greatest things to happen for you, that want you to get the most out of this life. So don't quit. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't surrender, to bad feelings. Stand up strong, put your chest out. Realize who you are. You're something special. You're something unique. And so don't walk away from that. Run to it. Run to it. I remember I did a video, I did a show where you can't run from yourself. Can't run from yourself. And why should you? Why should you? You're something, man, amazing. Something amazing. So, as opposed to running from yourself, run to yourself because you are something else, something unique, something vital to this world, So when you're not fine, just know that it's okay. It's going to be okay. And just know that you have options. You have options, and you have, a world that, even though it might not seem like it's in your favor, believes in you. Believes in you. And if nothing else, if you take the human equation out of it and go spiritual, you always got, God or your higher power. Your higher power, that always believes in you. So this is the Imperfect Myth. Holler at you later on.